Give us a little background. Tell us who you are. Why are we hanging out? What are we doing?
Because we like to run, lift, and just be
Jacked and tan.
meatheads evolving.
That's right.
Right? Like that's always been my goal, is not to be just a typical bodybuilder. I want to be a lot more substance. You know, I don't want to be all show no go. I want to just look tough.
Right.
I want to be tough. You know,
right.
Hard to kill. But yeah, I started seeing you run. I'm like, man, we gotta run together. I think I commented a couple times. I'm like, we gotta get it done. Be fun.
Here we are. We're about to go on a little journey. I think what we'll do for today is like just run like a mile or two, and then let's just kind of call the workout from there. So like whatever, like if we feel amazing, we can keep going, and we can say, hey, let's do a 6 or 8 mile run. If it feels like we want to pick up the pace and go faster and do a faster run, we can do that.
I'm gonna follow you.
So I'm kind of down for, I'm down for whatever. But been friends with Ray for a long time. It's great to have got a training session in with him today. We hit up a podcast earlier, gave us some really great information. This is a natural athlete, 160 pounds, but he's big as fuck. And I think that's a really cool thing about bodybuilding, is that you don't have to necessarily weigh a lot to look big. Look at the size of this guy's legs, the development in the legs, the development in the arms. You know, in some sense, it's in some sense, it's, you know, just something that just takes a really, really long period of time, and it takes a lot of consistency. And what he shared on our podcast today, I thought was really cool, because he just kept reiterating, no matter what question we threw at him, we threw out a ton of questions at him, and he kept just slowing us back down and making us understand, hey, this whole thing is a long process. So if you're watching this right now and you haven't run yet, or you haven't gone through any sort of dietary intervention of any kind, or you haven't messed around with some bodybuilding, start today and just take your time with it. You don't need to confine yourself with a lot of rules. Maybe one rule to follow is that you're going to start running, and you actually start, and that you're going to maybe start some lifting, and that you're going to start to eat better. But these are just, it's just a tiny bit different than what you normally do. And at this point, any amount of running, if you haven't been running, is going to be a lot. So even if you ran just 1 time per week, that would be a start. And even if you just lifted 1 time a week, that would be a start. Even if you just tracked your food for 1 meal a day, that would be a start. And it would be a great place to start. And I want to see you guys reach your goals. So one of the biggest things to reaching your goals is to get started. So here we go. We're going to get started. Boom. So I start all the runs out the same. Just with a little small jog and some walking. I don't really know why I do this necessarily, other than I do like to check, see how my body's feeling. But there's something about that little pressure buildup of like my calves sort of filling up with blood, and then it dissipating, that I like. I like that little fluctuation. And some days I'm excited and I'm just like, I just want to just run, but I still won't allow myself to do it. I still make sure I get the little, because I don't do anything else. I'm not like stretching. I'm not doing drills. It's just that, just a little bit of walking and jogging.
It's a good way to kind of acclimate. I think all kinds of different ways to do it, right?
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about acclimation sets. You were talking about how you, in the gym, will do some sets that you kind of call acclimation sets.
Yeah, so it's like you're not just warming up, you're acclimating, you're getting your nervous system ready for those actual working sets. Or actually use it as what did you call running, where you're checking your...
Yeah, like diagnostic.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. You're diagnosing how you feel for the day. So like each day you're gonna come in the gym different.
Right.
You're gonna feel different. So those acclimation sets where you're increasing weight and then you're lowering the reps, you get a feel of how you feel, how you're gonna perform that day.
Right.
So you get closer to your working sets, your anticipated working weight. You know, work up to like a heavy single, kind of see how you're feeling, and then it's gonna give you a chance, see where your CNS is at.
Right.
That's
You
it.
kind of judge it for the day, right? You can be like, oh man, wow, I didn't know my shoulder hurt today.
Yeah.
Then maybe you make an adjustment, you work out slightly differently for the day. I like that.
A lot of these kids make the mistake of jumping from like one warm-up set, say like 50-pound dumbbells to 120. If you take the time to acclimate, put heavier weight in your hands each set, how do you think you're gonna perform?
Yeah.
When you finally reach those 120s?
Very true. Something I sometimes practice with some hills. Sometimes I breathe in anticipation of the hill. So even though I don't need to, I'll go.
So you'll breathe like how you would breathe if you're really struggling.
Yeah, right. I'll just match it a little bit with what I'm about to do. So sometimes if I was going to sprint, I might do the same thing. I'll do it like 5 seconds in advance, or maybe 10 seconds in advance. I just found it feels good to me. So I just started messing with it.
Yeah, I got some of those, I got some of that hostage tape that you put out there.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
slept with them for a while.
Good.
And yeah, I'm definitely a mouth breather.
Yeah,
Like
same.
naturally. I've been snoring since I was a kid.
Yeah, I definitely will use my mouth when I'm sleeping for sure. How you feeling? Feeling pretty good? Yeah.
Good pace.
One thing I noticed for myself is that I don't breathe out really well.
Same.
So like the run's not that strenuous yet. But even when it's not that hard, it's like my breath out just isn't great. So, you know, I did a lot of nasal breathing for a long time where was concentrating on only breathing in and out of the nose. Still a fan of that, but I'm trying to teach myself how to breathe better because I just am not that good at it. So I try to occasionally get back into that and go. I'll actually use my lips because I found that blowing out with your lips like puckered together seems to help a little bit. And it's just the audible of it too, I think, is kind of nice. I can't believe how fast some people can run a marathon though. It is unbelievable.
Kipchoge,
Yeah.
that's crazy. But I mean, that's his life, right?
They've done studies on him to where it like almost doesn't seem like he's exercising when he's running a full marathon. And he's running like 4 minutes something miles the whole time. He also doesn't look like he's running fast. And he doesn't look like he's running hard.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't get it. He does a lot of slow running. Very slow in comparison to how fast he is. But he also runs like 20 miles a day.
when you start to fatigue, what do you think goes for your technique first?
You know, I'd say like my feet want to point out a lot, you know, and I want to kind of like run like this. So like maybe a fatigue of like the inner, some of the muscles of the inner thigh, maybe hip flexor, maybe a bit. Yeah, and then the form just melts, and I start going like this, like I'm running like I've got a poopy diaper.
Huh.
You know. How about for yourself?
My arms, my shoulders, my traps start to tighten up, and I'm like this.
Yeah.
Get really tight. And then
Yeah, your arms are fucking big. Like, I mean, again, you weigh 160. Those are abnormally large arms to be swinging around.
Yeah. So it's hard for me to, I don't know if this is the same for you, but we're designed to stay tight and braced.
Yep.
So like for me to keep my shoulders loose,
Right.
It's some reprogramming for me.
Absolutely.
So still working on that. And then it's probably I start to not pull my feet
Yeah.
up, kind of start to get lazy.
Same.
Because I find if I find that like that beat of pulling at the right second, right millisecond, I feel like I'm flying.
Right. Yeah, we were talking earlier today about how slow jogging just can feel so much different than running. And you know, keep in mind I'm still a very novice runner, so maybe I'm not right on this assertion, but the technique feels different for both.
Yep.
You know, a slow jog is like almost feels like you're on a treadmill and you're just ever so slightly picking your feet up and you're just kind of like in here. Whereas like once you start to run, even though there's more effort in running, to me running usually feels better. But you know, so much of my training is more like jogging because I try to adhere to a heart rate, you know.
Yeah. We're like at 9:30 right now. Good.
Oh, nice. I think the elbow is like it's like a fulcrum, you know, and with your elbow, you know, you're trying to probably push it back more so than anything else.
Yeah.
They say that a lot of runners, they kind of like look like they're massaging their ribs.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit in here. And obviously you pick up speed more, your arm will come up higher. But something that surprises me about running is that how much energy backwards you need to shove. And I think that's like something I really never thought of before. But if I pick up the pace for a minute here and do so via kind of just picking up my feet and pushing my my elbows backwards, it feels like movement. It feels like speed without a lot of extra cost, as opposed to like if I'm just thinking of like running fast. If you're like run as fast as you can, and I'm thinking like I want to impress you or something, I'm probably going to tighten up a lot.
Yeah.
And be all like balled up and thinking about going forward. I won't really think about that the elbow needs to come way back to generate that force to go forward. Or I won't think about kicking my foot back and pulling the ground, because your obsession is what's in front of you. It's kind of what you can see. So I've just kind of learned that a lot of this motion behind the body is really critical.
I gotta take a piss again.
Uh-oh. Prostate.
I drink a lot of water.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do so in these
Bushes?
Oh, you know what? No, there's a bathroom coming up. Yeah. Like a quarter mile.
This is a nice little trail.
You ever, just to really mix the two, to mix bodybuilding and running together, have you ever oiled yourself up and ran in your little skivvies?
I don't have to, because usually I'm just drenched in like after a mile.
Maybe that'll be in the next video. We'll do the mandatory poses.
Front double body.
Dude, that would be so weird. Running with like oil on you, being all slippery, having all the fake tanner drip off you.
One thing that I found out, I kind of realized is the less I think about my breathing, the lower my heart rate stays.
The more your heart rate does what?
It stays down.
Oh yeah.
But the second that I start,
Yeah.
that's like my main thing. I think about breathing a lot.
Yep.
I'll try 2 inhales through the nose,
Right.
3, 1 big exhale. And the more I think about it less, the more controlled I feel. And I think also talking. Because when you're talking, you're going to
talking.
breathe naturally.
Yeah.
You're kind of not forcing anything. You're just...
Yeah. Yep.
But it took some time to be able to talk. Like when I first started running,
Yeah.
I couldn't run. I couldn't talk during my zone 2.
Yep. Well, talking, I mean, it's a lot of air out, right? And so you're forcing air out, you're blowing off a lot of CO2, and that CO2 to oxygen ratio just might not be super optimal if you talk a lot.
Yeah. Do you feel like, you said you have trouble breathing out?
Yep.
That CO2 staying in there. Do you feel like you leave some in the tank?
I do think so, because like it just feels like, I mean, right now I still feel pretty good, but sometimes it'll be like later in a run where I feel as if the air's already like deflated out of my lungs partially, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it does seem to be a little bit of a limiter.
I feel like I have to let out another breath.
Yeah.
So like if I inhaled through the nose twice and then like I still have some in there, I can't breathe it all out. So I have to take another exhale.
Yeah. The restroom right up here to the right coming up. What's the furthest you've run so far?
14.
Oh, nice. That's great.
14. And I think it was like average ended up being like a 9.
Oh, that's
And I did it nonstop.
incredible. Here's the bathroom right here. It's great. Nice having a little running partner today. Sneaking in some extra steps behind his back. But we had a guy on the podcast named Chris Henshaw. And Chris, his Instagram handle is aerobic capacity. And he's worked a lot of CrossFitters over the years. just knows a ton about zone 2 cardio and
Yeah.
how to build out a bigger engine kind of thing for your body. And one of the things he was talking about was having kind of some rhythmic breathing. And he would mention like breathing like every X amount of steps. So you breathe like every 4 steps or every 6 steps. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. So that's something I try to do occasionally.
Who's that other guy that helped you with running? His page is a lot of red.
Oh, yeah.
That's his name. I followed him.
Oh, it might be Dan Garner, maybe? Not sure. A bunch of people help me with a lot of stuff.
He has that one thing. He says push with the tush.
Oh, that guy, yeah. He teaches that low and slow running. Yeah, learn to run. He's got great information.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, push with the glutes.
Yeah. It's like when I first started running, I was trying to find my way with technique. I consumed a lot of content. Tried different things, different cues. But what clicked the most was the pose method for me.
Yeah.
There's this coach Dex. I follow him on Instagram. And just the way he delivered the content, it just made so much sense in my head.
Yeah.
And that's what helped me the most. The pose method.
Yep, picking up those feet. A lot of different ways to do it.
There it is.
That's for sure.
There's just so many mental cues. It's like what hits you the best.
Yep. We're gonna go right here, but I got these certain things I always hit when I run for some reason, so
Alright.
Kaboom.
We do it too. Do you watch your Cadence?
I haven't gotten too into that. How about yourself?
I'm obsessed over it.
Oh, wow.
And once you get it, it solves almost every other problem.
It's going to help a lot with injury, right?
It's going to help you. It's going to kind of almost guarantee you not overstriding.
Right.
So, I'm at 182 right now, which is 180's
Yeah.
ideal. Like when I start picking up the pace, I'm like 185, 190. And I maintain it there the whole time. To me, it identifies your ground time.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen some people, they're really like hoppy. You know, they're really good with that. They got really quick ground time.
Because I think I was really heel striking in the beginning. And that's what like flared up my knee real quick.
Yeah, and heel striking is interesting because I don't think there's really a huge problem with it. If you're aware of it, if you're running slow enough,
Yeah.
and also if you're not overextending, if your stride is long and you're heel striking, I think that's when you can be in trouble.
Yeah, my stride was long.
Yeah.
Because my cadence was really low.
Because like if you go like the learn to run guy, he kind of teaches you to be in here a little bit, which is like kind of a rolling jog,
Yeah.
which is interesting. But to me, I think a lot of these things are just like, they're techniques. And I think that ideally, as you run longer, you want to develop your own style of running. But you also need to have many runs. Many different ways of running, I think, could be important. Depending on terrain, weather, shoes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors. You know, if you're on a trail, well, now you might need more power because there might be more hills. You might need different shoes to handle the trail. Then the shoes have different grip, and the shoes are going to feel different on your feet.
Yeah.
I do know that when I'm running, I feel good. I feel like I'm floating. You
That's
know?
how you're supposed to feel, right?
Yeah. Feel very effortless sometimes. And other times it's not like it feels super strenuous, but other times it'll just feel kind of difficult.
See, I think that's really based on your training, weight, recovery.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember that we still lift and train hard.
Right.
We're talking about these marathon runners. They talk about weight training. They're not training the way that we do.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. It's really rare for those guys to train really hard in terms of lifting.
Like I was saying in the car, I think it's just a matter of time for whatever we're doing, body stimulus, we're gonna adapt.
Right.
To whatever we're doing.
100%.
Because I never thought that I could adapt to running, man. Like, I fucking hated running. I couldn't run half a mile without just like dying.
Yeah, now you ran 14 miles.
But then I look back, my form was shit.
Right.
I was like, oh my God. Saw this treadmill footage, me at home, I was like, I look like a fucking baby rhinoceros. With just leaning forward like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how you were talking to that girl telling you to run up the hill.
Oh, yeah.
Told her your weight.
Yeah. Yeah, she told me to walk the hills, yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
For us guys that have,
Yeah.
you know, above average muscle for your frame, it's like, but you see a guy like yourself, like 220, 240, you're like,
Yeah.
this motherfucker's gonna run 2 miles?
Yeah.
And I see you right next to him.
Yeah, there's a reason why when you run those marathons, it's really rare to see people that are big, that are moving pretty good, you know? There'll be heavier people there, and they're doing pretty well, but they're usually not running all that fast, you know? It's just hard. It's hard to, mathematically, it's expensive.
But it's like, I'd rather be on our end, chasing aerobic capacity,
Yep.
versus trying to build muscle while running.
Yep.
We've already built it, right? It's like these guys that are strength training, they don't understand that they're most likely at a maintenance or a nice little deficit. They're never going to grow muscle.
Right.
Well, they're probably to an extent, you know,
They might feel stronger.
recomping a little bit,
Tendons, ligaments feel better.
but they're not going to grow tissue
Right.
the way that they hope.
Right. I agree. Lifting is just like such a cool attribute to have, and you were talking about it being like an investment. It's an investment that can pay dividends
Yep.
for the rest of your life. I mean, all you have to really do is build, well, not all, but because it is demanding, but you build a base. Once that base is built, from there to maintain it isn't that difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. I went on Threads and I said something like, muscle is the real fountain of youth.
Right. Yeah, the longevity organ, as Dr. Gabrielle Lyon talks about.
But then if you can match your heart with your muscle,
Yep. Now we're really talking about something.
you're fucking bulletproof.
Yeah.
Most of the time, these bodybuilders, their hearts don't match their muscle.
All right.
What
all right.
happens?
Yeah.
Heart attacks and strokes,
Yeah.
choking on chicken.
Yep.
Because the muscles are growing, but their hearts aren't. Lungs aren't. Capacity's weak.
Do you have any running background?
Just, like I said, basketball, doing freaking
Oh, yeah.
suicides.
Right.
But even when I played high school ball, I played from elementary to high school. My cardio was never that great. Like, I would be smoked after, a couple
Right.
full court plays.
Yep.
Dude, we were in Tahoe. For Thanksgiving week.
Yep.
Saw a fucking bear.
Oh,
I posted
shit.
on my Instagram. I was so excited.
While you were walking?
We took the kids to go check out the lake.
Right.
Right, we were by the lake. Kids were throwing rocks and stuff.
Oh shit.
And then I was just messing around. I was like, look, a fucking bear.
Oh my god.
Because my daughters, they're a little freaked out hearing that there could be bears. So we're walking back to the car slowly. And my wife is like, Sonia's like, holy shit, there really is a bear.
Oh my god.
And it was kind of getting dark.
Yeah.
So I see this round shadow.
Shit.
They start running. Or my wife's like, she starts kind of jogging. I'm like, where are you going? And then I'm like, and she's doing this like run like this.
Yeah.
And I was staying. I was like, I want to go see it. She starts booking it. My son's like, where? And it seemed like he wanted to stay with me. He starts booking it too. So I start walking towards it, and I see it in the dark. He's just digging in like trash cans, trying to find some food. I got a video, picture, but it was harmless. He was just fucking hungry.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Yogi Bear.
That's where they hang out. They hang out by where there's people to get the food.
Yeah. Have you tried these shoes? They're the Zoom flies.
I think I have the same pair. I think.
Zoom flies, so they're not, there's no carbon plate. There's a carbon shank. So
Maybe I haven't tried them.
no carbon plate, but it has the carbon shank, which kind of helps you, but they're more durable, a lot heavier than the vapor flies though.
Right.
But I like them for like long run, easy run. Nothing over like 8 miles though. It doesn't give you any help towards the end.
Like, the only thing I hate about these shoes is like makes my foot like pronated pretty hard, you know? Yeah. Makes my foot like rolled that way a bit.
Do you feel like you can't walk in them?
Right.
Like they're awkward? This super shoe feel?
Yeah.
These ones you don't feel like that. So you can like go to the gym in them.
Oh, that's cool. That makes a lot of sense. To have them dialed back a bit.
Because those, I have the pink ones. I only got like 150 miles on them. And they're gone.
Yeah. Yeah, they get shot pretty quick.
I bought a new pair, the black and gold ones, and I'm going to use those just strictly for races. I like learn.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh, 5K already.
Nice.
I didn't feel like it. That's good.
Yeah, we cruised right through it.
But it's funny. Like, I bought a complete for my daughter a couple years ago. Back when I used to skate, the more narrow the board was, the better. Like, I skated like a 7, 7.25. Now, it doesn't matter what size you are. These kids are skating 8s. 8s, 8.5s. Like, only the big boys use like 8s.
Right.
Because you needed it.
Right.
Now these skinny little kids are doing like 8, 8.5. I'm like, this is so much nicer not knowing where I'm going.
Yeah.
That's why it's flying by for me.
Yeah, isn't it nice? It's nice not knowing where the heck you're at.
You gotta come to Vegas and take you for a run.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we'll be at the strip already.
Yeah. You ever mess around with a little bit of head over foot stuff that I talk about sometimes?
I think I did.
Where it's like your head just going back and forth over your feet. A little side to side action.
That would definitely help me move my shoulders too.
It feels good. It's like just a little oscillation of the body. Feels a little maybe like more athletic, I guess you'd say. You tend to do it like if you're going to accelerate, you would naturally do it quite a bit.
Yeah. I think you talked about like changing your foot.
Changing your foot position.
Yeah. Just running differently. Like.
Yeah. Try and make it a little straighter. Yeah. It's almost like you just internally rotate them a bit. I notice a lot of fast runners, their knees are close together.
Yeah, we can't do that because we have quads.
It's hard.
Quads.
So it's like I got to try to push my right knee this way and my left knee that way.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah, it's because we have quads and legs. That's one thing that I had to realize is my form's not going to look like these other guys.
This watch, I have it set so it tells you the miles per hour. And so a lot of times I'm close to 6 miles an hour or so. Just kind of neat to see that, you know? You ever test your mile time?
I haven't.
It's kind of fun.
I don't have a track around. If I did, I would want to do it on a track.
Yeah.
Because minus the cars and fucking stoplights.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be fair. There's a track, UNLV. It's a drive.
Yeah.
From me.
Is it open?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, our track here in Davis is open too.
Have you timed it?
I haven't timed a mile run on a track, but I did an 8:03 a few months ago, and I did an 8:13 about a week ago at the end of kind of a long run. So not timed on the track.
Yeah, you'll be in 7s for sure.
Yeah, so the one I did recently, I really wasn't trying to push it too crazy. Yeah, I think I can do like 7:30 or something.
You follow Matt Choi?
Yep.
Try to do the mile challenge with him.
Yeah, what does he run?
He does like a 5.
Oh wow.
But he does that. His content, he'll get with other influencers.
Oh yeah.
And they'll test the mile, and he'll pace them.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That would be good. Yeah. Have him coach me like a 7-minute mile, because you need that push. I just don't love the red line stuff that much though either. You know, like I don't mind pushing. I don't mind having hard workouts. Like the intensity you used today for that workout.
Yeah.
That's where I'll push to. I don't go too far beyond that.
I only train 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like my intensity while I was running miles, a lot more miles, it's very low. I mean, it was still good.
Yeah.
But it was lower than I'm used to.
Right.
And I always actually felt like I had a lot more. So since I decreased my miles, increased my food, I'm just trying to get crazy with it.
Yeah.
See how much I can handle.
That's great. Yeah, I lift pretty hard 3-4 days a week. Nothing too crazy, but again, a little bit like what we did today. Maybe like, we were talking a lot and stuff, so maybe a little more intense than that, a little less rest type thing.
How much sleep do you get?
I allocate a good 7-8 hours. Sleep, according to my watch, isn't good. Like my
REM and
the information I get just tells me I have poor sleep most of the time. But I feel fucking awesome, so I don't really sweat it. I don't worry about it too much. As long as I allocate the time to get to bed, that's a really good start. And I've had improvements in my sleep in the last year or two. Years ago, when I was powerlifting, I didn't sleep hardly at all. I mean, I'd get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. I was lucky. So I'm kind of happy now that I'm able to lay down for even 8 hours,
You feel like your cardio improving helps that?
I think so.
Being able to breathe and not being...
Yeah, it helps your breathing so much more, yeah.
The one thought that when I'm running starts to hurt, I'm like, I can't believe... I'm glad that I started running at this point in my life. It's not going away. Even if you decrease the miles, you're always... I feel like push my body to the point where it's in such a healthier place and I'm going to live longer.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And that shit's not going away.
Nope. Well, and you're always going to want to get the movement in. Like even if you're injured and beat up, at the very least you can like walk.
Yeah.
You can do something. You can still get it in. But running is just such a good skill set to have. Something to try. I remember I was talking about, tucking the pelvis under.
Oh yeah.
So when you're running, like see if you can kind of push that lower back out just a pinch. Like rather than being here and overextended, you're just subtly a little shorter. Interesting thing is you'll feel the hip flexor. You don't want to be like totally pancaked, but your hip flexor will kind of work better with that lower back flat.
Yeah.
/ rounded almost even.
I seriously feel like I don't have any mind to muscle connection to that.
I hear you.
It's so tight.
Yeah.
Like I got to work on it.
Mine's tight too. Mine will hurt a lot of times too, and then there's like pain in there, so I can't really determine whether I'm moving it correctly or not. So I keep working on it. I probably need to get back to doing the reverse hyperextension. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Even laying over top of an exercise ball and letting that back open up. That's another good one. I heard some cool information recently about height capacity. So as we age, people are like, oh, you know, I used to be 5'11" or 6 foot or whatever, but now they're shorter because they're older.
Uh-huh.
Well, you still have all the capacity there. It's just that your structure is now built different. You might have forward head posture. Your shoulders might be rounded forward. But there's more people talking about gaining that height back. Really interesting because you can rejuvenate that by, you know, moving around and stretching and lengthening. I mean, we can't totally completely thwart off getting older, but you can push it way back, you know?
Yeah. I can see that. Because I see, you know, clients, people walking around, you can kind of see their physique and like tightness and, you know,
Yeah.
and just stuff that's coming from years of poor habits.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I think like it's going to take a lot of discipline for a regular person that's not doing what we do.
Right. I
don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
Because it's
True.
If we can't do it to maintain on top of what we do,
Yeah.
like that sedentary person's going to have to pay someone to physically hold their hand and do it every day.
Right. Are you a music guy, podcast guy?
Music.
I like music a lot. Very motivating. Sometimes podcast is like too thick,
Yeah.
you know?
It throws me off of like my running form.
Right.
I get too deep into it and I start to get lazy because I'm listening so closely. I like listen to like old punk,
Yeah.
like poppy punk, like some Blink, some used AFI, like shit like that.
Yeah.
Can't listen to like hip hop. Too many lyrics.
A little too aggressive.
I like dance. Like,
You guys got any Christmas traditions or plans coming up?
we're going to California. Visit Christmas Eve at my parents' house and then Christmas Day at hers.
For Christmas, the day after, we're going to Fresno to go see my brother-in-law. Kind of surprise him and his family. Fresno is like 3 hours or so, and the family doesn't really go visit him much, so I thought that would be cool. Go visit him and he's got 3 girls. And then for New Year's we'll be in Seattle, and then New Year's Day we'll be in Iceland.
Oh,
Me and my kids and my wife
sick.
go check out the Northern Lights.
When did that freedom you have right there? When do you think that started with Slingshot? The success where you were able to have that freedom. Because I know you've been through your grind with the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, it probably, started at some capacity, probably about 5 years into the business. As you know, you really appreciate you being a supporter from day one. You've always been supportive of the brand and the product, so things like that have been a huge help. But 5 years or so into it, we just had such a big jump. There was like no other companies really doing it. And so we had the Slingshot and then wrist wraps and knee sleeves. And I actually kind of messed up with knee sleeves. I made knee sleeves and elbow sleeves, and I tested them, and I was almost ready to launch them. I was like, I don't think anyone fucking cares about these things, except for me, And then SBD came along, and they got their sleeves out, and I was like, shit.
Huh.
But anyway,
I thought you already had them out when SBD started growing.
Yeah, I did. I had a full line of stuff, but I just didn't have knee sleeves out yet.
Oh.
Anyway, that competition was good though. It actually helped because powerlifting was at like an all-time high. And you know, you remember 2014, 2016, stuff like that. It was powerlifting was popping off pretty good. But yeah, I would say about 5 years into the company, we started doing really well financially, and financial freedom is a beautiful thing. It really is. I mean, just from being a meathead and being like an inventor, you know, making the slingshot and a bunch of other products surrounding it now.
You have that shit patented, right?
Yep.
So that's why everybody, what about the hip circle?
Yeah, hip circle you can't patent.
Because now
or at least I wasn't able to.
Yeah, because I was talking to some guy.
Yeah.
Jim, I talked to him, I'm gonna go visit Mark Bell because he has a slingshot.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we were just talking about your company.
Yeah.
Yourself. And then, he had a hip circle. I'm like, I don't think he got that patented because now all these little fuckboy brands have their own.
Yeah. It makes me feel good though. Like I see the hip circle to some capacity in like hotels and stuff, and gyms all across the world. I still feel good. I know I contributed, you know. So okay, I don't make the dollars on that one, but it's still cool. Like I love strength and conditioning, and if I have any contribution at all, I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. That's what I remember. I thought you patented that one.
Oh, we sold the fuck out of those things though, and we still do. We sell so many of them. Yeah, it's a weird thing, you know, to push what you love, and then to have it reward you so much is really interesting. It's just provided so much for me and my family, and even then some, you know, friends, so forth. That I have like 6 properties, 6 cars, you know, like
assets.
Yeah.
That's muscle.
Yeah, a lot of assets. I got a home in Tahoe, a home in Bodega, a few homes here in town. I mean, all just from leaning into what I like, you know? Leaning into what I love and what I know. You know, I remember my kids, when my son was like 13 or so, I was like, I'm going to show you how to lift. And he's like, okay. He's like, why? I was like, because I don't know how to do anything else. This is my trade. This is what I know. And so I showed him like all the basics, you know, bent over rows, deadlifts, squats, bench press, and said, you could do with this whatever you want. I just felt like it's important that I show it to you. And if you have any, you know, more questions or you want to do more of it, you know, let me know. It was probably like a year or two later. We were on a walk, and he's like, Dad, he's like, you think you can bring me to the gym tomorrow?
That's cool.
And I had to play it all like cool. I had to play it off like it wasn't a big deal.
You're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, yeah, let's do that. I'll bring you tomorrow. That'll be great. But meanwhile, like the Rocky music hit, and like a montage.
That's your oldest?
Yeah, my son Jake. Yep.
That's cool.
I have a daughter named Quinn. She's 16. Quinn did a good job of driving. We have a golf cart on our property. She smashed the golf cart into my wife's Tesla. I came out and looked at it, and I just started laughing. My wife was so mad that I was laughing about it. But I'm always just like, well, like it already happened, you know? She didn't mean to smash your car, but she did. 12 grand. 12 grand in damages. But But hey, if that's the worst thing that happens from having 2 teenage kids, I think that's not bad.
That was a big win.
Yeah, big victory.
Kind of taught her a little lesson to kind of be more careful
Absolutely.
before it happening with like
Yeah.
like a moving, you know,
Right.
something crazier.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, all right, there's a simulated accident. No one else was involved. She didn't get hurt.
Actually, fun fact, I sold insurance before I became the online coach.
Oh, wow. Car insurance?
Farmer's insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my dad still owns the agency. I got licensed and I was working with him. The plan was to take over his agency because he has a pretty good book. But just, I didn't like it, man.
Yeah.
I started doing online coaching and stuff on payroll hours. And then it blew up. And then I quit. I'm like, Dad, I made 60 grand in like 3 months.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna take this full time.
Yep.
Never look back.
That's great. And I think it's, good to know what you don't like to do. I think that's an undersold thing is, part of knowing who you are is knowing who you're not.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are real worried about their children and what they're going to do. And I talk to a lot of friends. They have kids that are 16 to 20-ish. And they're very worried about what their kids are going to do because their kids don't seem like they're that into anything quite yet. And I always just tell them, like, just let it take time. Let them sort through what they know for sure they don't want to do. And over time they'll end up landing on the right thing. But hopefully, you have a kid that's putting in some good efforts,
Scary though.
Yeah, very
My
much so.
beliefs now with this generation is scary.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in old school value.
Yeah.
I was raised with a lot of discipline. A lot of.
Well, it's normal in your culture, right, to even have a little bit of like physical discipline, right?
Oh yeah, my mom whooped my ass.
Yeah.
It wasn't even my dad; it was my mom.
Yeah. Typical American. I mean, I guess like the way I was raised, that was like borderline, like my dad did hit us a little bit here and there, got spanked, but it was pretty like mild.
Yeah.
But I have friends like Nsima that are Nigerian or Asian friends, and it's a lot more physical, and some people don't know how to perceive that or look at that, but it's like, no, it's not always child abuse, Sometimes it's a little cultural, and maybe that cultural could go too far sometimes too, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just different people have different beliefs.
I think my main indicator is the anger.
Yeah.
If you're getting beat and your dad's angry,
Right.
disappointment,
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
My dad beat me with, or my mom, they beat me with disappointment, not anger.
Right.
My dad
They beat you because they taught you a certain thing, and you did the opposite.
I didn't listen. Yeah.
Most likely, right?
Yeah. But once there's alcohol in the mix, and that's
Yeah.
when it starts to get a little serious.
Yeah, alcohol or anger, I agree. Anger is a real nasty one.
But yeah, whenever I got beat, I knew I deserved it.
Yeah, yeah.
I literally.
That's what Nsima said too. Nsima's like, I was being a bitch.
This is different.
Yeah.
6 miles, baby.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest 6 miles I've ever run.
Oh, great.
Just shooting the shit.
Yeah, this is a very normal run for me. Approximately like this. Sometimes a little slower. 6 miles in an hour-ish, something like that. We're under that, but
These feel the best.
yeah, feels sustainable. Feels like I can do this a couple times a week.
But it's not easy. I mean, it's
Right.
easy, but it's not. It's still above average. Like if you
Yeah.
had a normal dad bod,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, run 6 miles with me. Like,
Yeah.
they'd be dead.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's where I was when I was trying to run with my wife, or I wanted to.
Right.
Like, come run with me. Fuck no. 5 miles,
You're like, nah, I'm good.
I would die. That does something to your ego.
Oh yeah. For sure it does.
But then when I finally went out with her and ran I think 2 miles, I was struggling, but it I like the challenge. I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna get good now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a runner. Start running, talking to myself. I'm a runner.
Yeah,
I'm a runner.
As you're running.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those affirmations.
Yeah, you're a runner and not just a kind of hanger-on, barely finish the race kind of thing.
But I think it takes a certain character to actually take up running.
Oh yeah.
You kind of gotta be a little nutty inside, you know, to put yourself through the torture and the test of like being where you want to quit, but you don't. You push through.
Right.
You know what I mean,
Push to this point where you get tired repeatedly, you know, because
like
you'll have multiple bouts, you know.
Yeah, you're literally purposely going out there to torture yourself.
Bing. We'll just walk it off now. Oh, Ryan's body's turned into stone probably.
Woo!
It's amazing like how stiff you get, like doing something like a squat feels like so hard, you know?
I was just gonna say, so after
Like a
we
hip
stop, it's my right knee.
or like a hip hinge.
I do a knees over toes. I'll get on like elevated heel, and then I'll do or something.
Do like a squat, your heels up.
Get my knees over my toes.
Yeah.
And do like 10 reps. All right.
Just put your heels on something like that.
It's too high.
Probably, yeah, a little aggressive.
I mean, even just like this.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you see his legs shaking as he does it.
It almost like once I do this, it almost like self-adjusts, like something
Yeah.
like with my knee gets tight, and then like I feel this like pop.
It's like your body doesn't want to do it, but it's also good for your body, right?
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. I might have to do a couple baby reps. Oh, that's not too horrible.
Yeah, it's nice and warm.
Some baby reps.
I feel like that just opens up my knee. Because when we're running, it's just a slight bend, right? For like a lot of.
Yeah, it feels actually really good.
And then once it gets warm and you're down there, just chill. Come back up, do some more reps. I do it on the slant board before, pre. Usually I'll do those, some mini bands, get my glutes firing, hips firing, that's it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like when I first did it, my body felt like concrete, you know? A little movement goes a long way.
It does.
Just go down here and walk and come back around.
Oh, I haven't sweat this much in a little bit.
I always try to walk it off too. It feels good.
Yeah, see, I rush that shit. I'm always like, just
Sometimes I
go
get,
inside and like,
yeah, sometimes I do get right in the car, but I've just learned it's like,
that's
it's
like
not good for me to
it's
do.
suicide. 20-minute
Yeah.
drive. I at least do those knees over toes, like
Yeah.
do that, get my knee like loose before I get in the car. Because if I don't, I'm like wrecked.
Yeah.
Even if it's a nice easy run.
So I'd probably like to drop another, maybe like 10 lbs of body fat would be kind of the goal, and just kind of stay there. What do you think the best way for me to approach some of that is? I think I think the food I have right now is not bad. I probably need to stick with it a little bit more. You got any other suggestions?
You said you're not tracking, right? You just eat.
I'm not, so maybe I
I
should
think
just
that's all you need to do.
just write it out.
I think all you need to do is just track your food and gain some consistency, and then
And figure out.
drop your fat like a little bit.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe like 10 grams, and I think you'll start dropping. Maybe keep your mileage, your weekly mileage the same,
Right.
and then I think you'll.
Yeah,
create,
you were saying like that, or even just add a little bit of mileage, right?
Yeah.
Either one.
I think you'll create enough deficit for you to kind of just drop like maybe half a pound a week.
Mm-hmm.
Just shoot for half a pound.
Yeah.
That's it. And then by the time you get that 10 pounds, you barely even felt it.
Right. I'll do that. Because, yeah, I never really track anything. I don't ever write anything out. And when I did my bodybuilding show, I didn't necessarily track anything, but I did have a meal plan, which is the same thing, basically.
Yeah, just a little bit more, less freedom, I guess.
Yeah.
You just dialed.
Let's cross over here. Yeah, the meal plan, it was just it was like rotate. It was like egg whites, chicken breast, white fish, red meat. And it was like rotate, I just did that every day. And it worked out great. I just found it to be super annoying, and then plus, trying to get all those meals. So now I want to do a similar thing, but I don't want to do it with the headache of like that same amount of meal prep. Because like I'm like you, I don't meal prep. My meal prep I might bring some jerky with me, or have like a little cup of yogurt or something,
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And also, before I moved to Vegas, I was with Icon Meals.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was with them for years.
Todd, yeah.
Yeah. And then they kind of just started. The guys that were like managing me.
Sorry, Ryan, we fuck you over there.
They started slacking on sending my weekly meals.
Yeah.
They're just getting unorganized. They just got too big out
Yeah.
there. So when I moved out to Vegas, heard about Foodie Fit.
Mm-hmm.
This company, but they have a store where like they don't do delivery. It's just in store. You pick it up fresh as hell.
Oh, nice.
Super tasty. So I hit up their Instagram, like, hey, love to partner up with you guys. So I nailed that sponsorship before even moving out there. And they're tasty as hell.
Oh,
like,
nice.
I like them in this gray area. Remember we were talking about how food tastes when you're like black or white or gray?
Right.
Like I enjoy it even when I'm in a nice little surplus.
Do you eat like one or two of those a day usually?
I eat like, even the like big boy bulk size, I eat 2 of those. 2 of those each time, and I'll do that like 2 or 3 times a day. And then I'll fill the gaps with like if me and Sonia have been on salmon and rice, just salmon, white rice, and soy sauce.
Yeah.
Do that.
What are
Protein snacks.
those meals that you get? What are those like? Are they like just balanced? Protein, carbs, fat, like.
They all vary. There's some like I'm stuck on their sliders. These 2 sliders.
Yeah, I love
29
that.
fat for both of them.
Right.
But they fucking hit the spot.
Right.
Cheese on there. There's
That's
other
it.
stuff like
Yeah.
fish and like chicken that's obviously leaner. That's really the only thing that I really
Interesting thing to look at, like fat, and fat calories, because as much as you want to pick them off, because that is probably going to help someone get lean the fastest. So you got to be careful with picking them off, because like you said, that's 29 grams of fat, but it also has you not only satiated but satisfied. It's like it kills everything. It gives you a good caloric amount for the amount of food it is. It hits all the pleasure sensors in your brain. It's hitting up like dopamine and serotonin and all these things that are floating around and flying around all while you're losing body fat. Like that's
Yeah, burgers.
that's not a bad gig,
Yeah.